In a world inhabited by anthropomorphic animals, Belle LeBlanc stands out as the only known human. On her quest to uncover the truth about her identity, Belle receives a warning from a beast man that this mission might be his last. The day before, around Lake Chaser, a significant commotion in the water attracted the attention of the local inhabitants. One resident speculated that the river had risen, causing a sea seed to bloom and spread poison, transforming the fresh water into salt water. Some bulls had already succumbed to this condition. The rats, desperate for help, sought assistance from a nomad. However, instead of the nomad, a girl was sent, which caused unease among the population. This girl, known for being expelled from City Park for causing trouble, drew attention wherever she went, as no one had seen a being like her before. When the envoy stepped into the crowd, everyone scrutinized the human from head to toe, searching for any fur, horns, or animal ears that might reveal her origin. The more they examined her, the more confused they became. Unperturbed by the scrutiny, Belle LeBlanc introduced herself as the envoy sent by Master Cyan LeBlanc. The elder rat, who had requested help, stepped forward, introducing himself as the guardian of Weatherwheel Town. He pointed to the center of Lake Chaser, where he described a creature with arms as sturdy as tree trunks and a body impervious to swords and spears, spewing poisonous ink from its mouth. Belle's master had speculated that the creature was likely a Negroni, but it was hard to be certain from a distance. Determined to get closer, Belle planned to investigate, especially since flower flesh was her favorite food. Hearing this, the inhabitants muttered among themselves, calling her a wild beast. Ignoring the insults, Belle placed her heavy bag on the ground, removed part of her clothing to lighten her load, and shocked the crowd by sliding into the water. As she neared the creature, a tentacle grabbed her and pulled her underwater. Moments later, Belle ripped off the tentacle and hurled it to the surface. However, the battle was far from over. Realizing the challenge was not ordinary, the Negroni emerged from the depths, revealing its enormous stature. Belle drew her sword, and the pressure in the air from her handling was so intense that it vibrated through her body, grounding her feet on the wooden floor. The beast attacked with brutal strength, and Belle struggled to dodge the blows, which were both powerful and extremely fast. In response, she commanded her sword, Runding, to sing. This command evoked a pinkish energy from the weapon, resembling petals. Obsessed, Belle LeBlanc kissed Runding. After the sword's song, her movements became lighter and more precise, and her cuts were fatal to the Negroni's hardened scales, which had previously been impenetrable. Now, Belle was slicing each tentacle with the precision of a sharp axe cutting wood. Overcoming the initial obstacles, the warrior gained access to the monster's trunk. With unimaginable dexterity, she made 3 rapid slashes to the enemy's neck in a single motion, causing it to roar in agony as blood gushed, reddening the water. As the Negroni suffered the severe injury, the smell of salt water reached Belle's nostrils. Soon, the deep cuts on the creature's body burst open, releasing a poisonous rain. The lake's inhabitants hurried to save their food from contamination, while the beautiful creature grabbed Belle with its last tentacle. Belle LeBlanc questioned why the Negroni had come there, and it responded with tears in its eyes, saying it only wanted to return to the sea, its home. Unfortunately, it could no longer fulfill this desire. All that remained was to spread the seeds of its body before its death. Hearing this, Belle apologized and cut the tentacle holding her. The movement caused her to fall, and with the gained momentum, she plunged her sword one last time into the doomed creature. Despite the devastation caused by the battle, the elder rat promised to send the reward to Belle as soon as possible. She asked to take a seed and a tentacle of the Negroni home because, as she had said, she loved flower flesh. Once again, the surrounding animals were shocked by the bestial behavior of the human. But the guardian of Weatherwheel Tower did not oppose the heroine's wish. Later, on the way back, Belle lamented that the inhabitants of Lake Chaser would destroy all the Negroni's seeds. she threw the one she saved into a river, thinking she might need to fight in the region where the current would carry the seed someday. Finally home, Belle greeted her master, Cyan, who was trying to light a fire using the friction of two objects, even though it would have been much simpler to use magic. This slightly irritated Belle, as did the fact that her master had sent her to defeat the Negroni instead of going personally to save the region without causing any damage. To avoid souring the mood, she threw the tentacle on the table and showed it to the beast man, who praised the clean cut of his pupil. However, he noted that it was possible to sharpen the blade even more and focus all her concentration into a single strike, something Belle had yet to learn. Nevertheless, he believed that eating the defeated creature's corpse was a way of honoring the dead, even though a Negroni was not just made of flesh, but also a resistant leather material that Belle planned to use to make shoes. While eating, Cyan added different sauces to the plate, causing Belle to complain that he was ruining the fun. But he saw it differently, as this mix caused an explosion of flavors. Since the leader was so sentimental, the pupil asked him to cook next time, but she was completely ignored. At the end of the meal, Belle questioned why the Negroni had left the sea, considering it had expressed a desire to return before dying. Cyan believed the Negroni was trying to fulfill its purpose as a flower, spreading seeds that were not just flowers. In this world, all matter mixes with everything else. Nothing is created. Everything is transformed. After dinner, Belle cleared the dishes while her master smoked a pipe that emanated his magic. Saddened by the earlier events, Belle lamented that the lake dwellers were afraid of her, wishing that Cyan had gone in her place. Her master believed he had nothing to teach a plant, and thus couldn't serve as an Enola, whose role is to instruct others. Eager to leave this place, Belle wanted to continue her search for beings of her own kind. However, the beast man emphasized that he had never seen another human in his long life. Belle believed that at this rate, the army of the insatiable void would take her away sooner or later. According to her master, these beings could no longer enjoy the world, and Belle saw it as her end if they caught her. To this day, she had never felt she belonged in this world because she had never seen anyone like her, while other races despised her, which was cruel. Curiously, Master Cyan identified a certain nostalgia in his pupil's words, a platonic love for her hometown, the desire for utopia, or the painful inability to love oneself and the place where one is. The nostalgia for what was never lived is a yearning for self-knowledge. Belle asked for a way to cure this nostalgia, so Cyan advised her to journey to the land of Schwert, the country of the sword. Although there were no humans there, she might find a world truly her own. But first, she needed to go to Park City to complete the challenges and become a nomad. Shortly after, as she got out of the bath, Belle reflected on her master's words, who said that traveling meant putting her existence at stake, a game where no one could help her, not even her Enola, because no one, no matter how close, was Belle LeBlanc. With this in mind, Belle knew that one day her life with the teacher would end, and that would only be the beginning. Above all, she dreamed of a world where she belonged. Meanwhile, Runding shone like the night, and the briefest touch transported Belle to fragments of her childhood memories, when the anthropomorphic beings were even crueler to her as a child. Some even said she was born from a stone, and the beast's children tormented her simply for being different and possessing extraordinary strength. In this distorted memory, Belle embraced a couple she thought were her parents, but they had animal ears. Distraught, she ran through the crystal blue night towards a castle, traversing the long paths of that labyrinth of rock and iron. During her wandering, she found a chained sword in a dirty storage room, seeing it as a friend. Upon touching the weapon, Belle felt the warmth of that pink energy in her hands for the first time, something that would accompany her for life. Without a second thought, she stole Runding from the castle and fled past the guards until she reached a moon that awakened Runding's desire to pierce the world. One of the guards stopped the child, and when she refused to let go of the sword, she was imprisoned with it in one of the castle cells. When she woke up next to Runding, Belle LeBlanc hugged the only friend who understood her in this world. At dawn, the humans scared away the rats, delivering the reward to Master Cyan's door. This time, she decided not to blame anyone for her loneliness. With money in hand, Cyan commented that food would not be a problem for a while, but his student didn't care about that. Determined, she declared she would go to park to become a nomad. With that, the master asked her to bring her sword so he could teach her the final lesson. According to Cyan, one cannot become a nomad without receiving a curse. Depending on the life that bears it, this curse can take many forms, and it would be Belle's first trial haunting her as she followed her path. These curses are passed through nomad blood, so the master cut his finger with Belle, repeating the gesture. Thus, the two touched their wounds, and the master asked the purpose of the apprentice's journey. She expressed her desire to know her roots, meet people like her, and finally connect to this world. With that said, the procedure ended and Cyan advised Belle to embrace this curse, always hoping that one day it would become a blessing. As he spoke, the beast man's face distorted into a magical expression, and Belle realized he was disappearing. Cyan said he was no longer necessary in the apprentice's life, and that this way she would not discover his secret motive. Finally, he wished Belle LeBlanc to visit places he never managed to visit. In a way, Belle felt betrayed by the master as she watched him dissipate in front of her, venting her frustration by stating that he was playing with her mind. On the other hand, this was Cyan's role as Enola, and fulfilling this purpose was the reason for his existence. In that dark time in a dirty and forgotten cell, Belle was told by Cyan that her parents would not come for her because he would be responsible for her from now on, teaching the child to use the sword she insisted on not letting go of. Runding carried the spell Irwin, whose true meaning was utopia. In the end, Belle states that she loves Cyan, then uses Runding to attack her master and fulfill her purpose. This brings an end to our episode 1. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more anime recaps.